November 1966, eerie things began to occur in the small town of Point Pleasant, West Virginia. On November 15, Steve and Mary Millette, along with Roger and Linda Scarberry, were traveling together on State Route 62, close to the defunct National Guard Armory building and power plant. Suddenly they spotted a frightening creature that appeared to be 6 or 7 feet tall, blocking the road. Its giant eyes gleamed blazing crimson in the headlights. Shocked, they decide to turn back to the town. However, the beast trailed behind. The thing rises up like a helicopter, then started to follow them even with the car driving at 100 miles per hour. It chases their vehicle to the outskirts of town in the air, then scuttled into a nearby field and disappeared. They didn't know it then, but this was the legendary creature Mothman. When they got back to the town, they told police they had seen a large black creature whose eyes glowed red, standing at the side of the road near the TNT area, the site of a former World War II munitions plant. Linda Scarberry described it as a slender, muscular man about 7 feet tall, with white wings. However, she was unable to discern its face due to the hypnotic effect of its eyes. Mason County Sheriff George Johnson believed the sightings were due to an unusually large heron he termed a shitepoke. The creature's spotting unsettled the locals, leading to an unclear headline in the Point Pleasant Registry the next day: "Couples see man-sized bird, creature something." The tendency in small towns to turn into a vengeful mob became more apparent. For a few evenings, interested townspeople decided that hunting rifles were a better weapon than pitchforks and torches. In November 1966, 2 young couples left the nearby woods, claiming to have encountered a scary creature. They told the sheriff what had happened, describing how, except from its flashing red eyes and 10-foot wings, the creature appeared to be human in most aspects. The same month, gravediggers working in a cemetery in Clendenin, West Virginia, spotted a strange, man-like figure in the trees above their heads. They glanced up from their work as something huge soared over their heads. It was a massive figure that was moving rapidly from tree to tree. The gravediggers would later describe this figure as a brown human being. Following this initial encounter, a number of odd sightings and incidents in Point Pleasant and the surrounding areas, including the Mothman lurking outside houses, chasing automobiles, and taking pet dogs, were attributed to him, according to documented sources. Persistent sightings began in November 1966, and totaled 26 over a 1-year span. The reports of a large, winged creature with glowing red eyes were centered in the Point Pleasant area, usually in or near a vast, abandoned munitions facility known as the TNT plant. The Mothman story was published in the local newspaper. After a day or two, the entire town arrived at the reported location of the creature, armed and prepared to pursue it. But they were unable to locate it. The Gettysburg Times reported 8 additional sightings in the short span of 3 days after the first claims. This included 2 volunteer firefighters, who said they saw a very large bird with large red eyes. The town started blaming all of the bad happenings on this Mothman. 8 people reported their dogs missing within the following weeks, and to explain it off as the Mothman's doing. Many locals believed the Mothman lived in a vacant nuclear power plant outside Point Pleasant, perhaps an escaped product of some secret government experiment. Newell Partridge, a resident of Salem, West Virginia, claimed that he saw strange patterns appearing on his television screen one night, followed by a mysterious sound just outside of his home. Shining a flashlight toward the direction of the noise, Partridge supposedly witnessed 2 red eyes resembling bicycle reflectors looking back at him. Then his pet, a German shepherd named Bandit, who chased it into the woods. Partridge claims that when searching for Bandit, all he discovered were paw prints that moved in circles before disappearing. The most notorious Mothman sighting occurred on December 15, 1967. The Silver Bridge, a suspension bridge across the Ohio River that connected Point Pleasant, West Virginia, to Gallipolis, Ohio, was reported to have been seen by locals either flying over it or on top of it. Mothman legend states that the bridge fell soon after the creature was seen there, killing 46 individuals. The cause of the accident was determined by an investigation to be a fracture in a suspension chain. Since the bridge collapse, there have reportedly been numerous terrifying sightings of Mothman. Witnesses have claimed to have seen the creature before tsunamis, earthquakes, and even the terrorist assault on September 11, 2001. According to Georgian newspaper Svobodnaya Gruzia, Russian ufologists claim that Mothman sightings in Moscow foreshadowed the 1999 Russian apartment bombings. Wildlife biologist Robert L. Smith at West Virginia University told reporters that descriptions and sightings fit the sandhill crane, a large American crane almost as tall as a man with a 7-foot wingspan and reddish coloring around its eyes. The bird may have wandered out of its migration route, and therefore was unrecognized at first, because it was not native to this region. Some people say that this crane was deformed, especially if it resided in the TNT area, a name that locals gave to a series of nearby bunkers that were once used for manufacturing munitions during World War II. It has been suggested that these bunkers have leaked toxic materials into the neighboring wildlife preserve, possibly affecting nearby animals. Another theory suggests that the creation of the Mothman was the work of one very committed prankster who went so far as to hide in the abandoned World War II munitions plant, where some of the sightings occurred. In 2016, a man who had just moved to Point Pleasant spotted a mysterious creature jumping from tree to tree. He claimed to local reporters that he was unaware of the local legend of the Mothman, until he allegedly spotted the beast himself. Around July 2018, a Middletown resident reported her encounter with a winged humanoid, possibly a Mothman, while taking photographs underneath the Aragoni Bridge. When she was out photographing the sunrise along the Connecticut River in Middletown, Connecticut, she found herself beneath the Aragoni Bridge. She observed a dark brown, winged thing resembling a humanoid flash over the tops of the forest trees just as the sun was rising higher in the sky. Perhaps the sun appeared to be more brown than black as it rose. Uncertain. However, it passed by so quickly that she was unable to even take a decent picture. She thought about trying to follow it in the woods as it was rapidly flying away over. But she decided not to give chase after this creature. In 2019, accounts of a flying moth creature in Chicago stoked the paranormal creature craze. And this led to an NPR inquiry called The Case of the Chicago Mothman. There have been 55+ reports of seeing Mothman in Chicago between 2011 to 2020. The most recent sighting of the creature was September 24, 2020, when about 11 p.m. a 15-year veteran of the USPS was departing the USPS sorting facility at O'Hare Airport. When she opened her car, the headlights made the eyes glow red, even though she believed she saw a man at the end of the parking lot wearing a heavy coat. She quickly realized it wasn't a man but some sort of creature, maybe a bird, but was at least 2 feet taller than her 5'4" frame. The creature turned and spread its wings, but there are no birds that big in Chicago. The creature screeched and flew off into the air above her. Some ufologists, paranormal authors, and cryptozoologists suggest the Mothman could be an alien, a supernatural manifestation, or a previously unknown species of animal. The creature was popularized by John Keel in his 1975 book The Mothman Prophecies, claiming that there were paranormal events related to the sightings, and a connection to the collapse of the Silver Bridge. In his book, Keel claimed that Point Pleasant residents experienced precognitions including premonitions of the collapse of the Silver Bridge, UFO sightings, visits from inhuman or threatening men in black, and other phenomena. The book was later adapted into a 2002 film. An annual festival in Point Pleasant is devoted to the Mothman legend is held every September. Point Pleasant held its first annual Mothman Festival in 2002. The Mothman Festival began after brainstorming creative ways to attract visitors to Point Pleasant. The group organizing the event chose the Mothman to be the center of the festival due to its uniqueness, and as a way to celebrate its local legacy in the town. According to the event organizers, the average attendance for the Mothman Festival is an estimated 10,000 to 12,000 people per year. A 12-foot-tall metallic statue of the creature, created by artist and sculptor Bob Roach, was unveiled in 2003. The Mothman Museum and Research Center opened in 2005. The festival is held on the third weekend of every September, hosting guest speakers, vendor exhibits, pancake eating contests, and hayride tours of locally notable areas. So that's all we got about Mothman, and thanks for watching. If you liked the video, please hit the like button. If you want to see more videos, hit the subscribe button, and if you have something to say, please leave a comment.